Hello everyone, welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I am broadcasting to you live from beautiful Budapest, Hungary. Hi Preeti, Sina, how are you doing? All right, today is an IELTS Task 1. It's a members chat class, so if you're a member of our channel, you'll be able to join in on this chat. Of course, everybody is welcome to watch. This IELTS Task 1 was requested by one of our members. As usual, the materials do come from our websites, aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. If you're interested to buy our 6 original practice exams in digital or hard copy, you can also get that from Amazon. So if you go to your Amazon store, search for AE Helps Academic IELTS for academic and GE Helps General IELTS for general. Hi Marwa, thanks for wishing me a good evening, although we're not there yet. It's 3 o'clock in my part of the world. I'm guessing it's evening where you are at. All right, if anybody has questions, comments, you can always email me, Adrian at aehelp.com. It's my name at aehelp.com. Today we have this special request members chat task 1 diagram class, and then we have 4 days of no live classes for the holidays here. So 23rd all the way to the 26th, no class. Hi Kisi, good to see you. All right, 27th, I'll do a speaking part 1 and 2, and then we'll have no class on the 28th. But we will be releasing some new HD videos during that time, so make sure to check on the channel. Also, I posted the answer key in the community comments for yesterday's reading. Hi Baljit, how you doing? Did you request today's class? No, I think Begzod, I think, requested today's class. All right, so let's look at today's question. Task 1 writing, academic. Okay, this is for the academic IELTS. You should spend no more than 20 minutes on this task. And here they say you should spend no more than 20 minutes because you need 40 minutes for task 2. It's worth twice as much. And it says write at least 150 words, so you should write minimum 150 words to get that task completion. So your word count should be between 150 and 200 words. If you go over 200, 210, 220, that's okay. Just make sure it's good quality and make sure you don't take more than 20 minutes. So here's the question. The plans below, not shot, but show the layout of a university's sports center now and how it will look after redevelopment. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting main features and make comparisons where relevant. Okay, so classic type diagram question for the academic IELTS. Let's take a look at these diagrams. There's one. So, of course, pay attention to the title, University Sports Center present. That's now. Let's see what else is going on here. Oh, there's the second diagram. University Sports Center future plans. Okay, members, what type of essay is this? So what kind of essay is this? This is very important to realize early in the game what kind of essay you're writing. And this is usually the same for task 1. So let's write that here. Okay, so type of essay. What is it? Marwa says it's an expository essay. Yes, Marwa, you're right. We need to explain about these diagrams. Okay, good. So next, let's decide the author's voice. What's the author's voice here? So when the reader is looking at the essay, they should feel like they're being talked to. They should feel like somebody's talking about themselves, or they should feel like information is being generally discussed. Those are the three typical voices of the author, and they're called second, first, and third in the order that I explained it. So which of the three is your task one? Is it first person? Do you use I, me, my, in my opinion? Is it second person? You will see the changes in the university. You will also notice that. Or is it third person? The university will change in this way. It is expected that the university builds another portion. Marwa says, it is a third person essay. You do not use I, you do not use me, my. It is the objective general voice of truth. That's right. So no I, me, my. Okay, no I or you. All right. And now you should really quickly realize one more important piece here. That's right, Kesey. That's right, Preeti. It is third person. Good. There should be one more important piece of information to realize before you start your planning or identifying key points or paraphrasing. You could actually figure this out after paraphrasing here as well. So if I paraphrase this this bit here, I might stumble upon this third piece of important information. Let's paraphrase this question to collect that important vocabulary and to clearly make sure we know what we're doing. So that can be the beginning of our overview. Okay, so here we have our overview. Overview is the beginning of this essay. You don't need to write overview in the actual IELTS, students. This is just for your learning. So in the overview, we need to paraphrase the question and maybe give some more details. Okay. So here, the original question is, the plans below show the layout of a university sports center now and how it will look after redevelopment. Okay, so we can see the original plans here. It's got a couple of components. We have a compass here that's showing us north, south, west, east. And then we have this piece here. We also have a compass there. Everything is joined into one large building. Great. So now we can see that there's an expansion. Definitely we can see that there's more of the building in the future than now. So here, let's paraphrase and give some more details. The, what do we call plans? Preeti, Kisi, Marwa, Baljit. What do we call plans of a building? What's a better, even more specific word? Let's see if anybody gets it. Let's do it this way. It'll be even better. All right. Marwa says it's a project. Not quite. Another way to say plans, think of a, I'll give you a hint. Think of a color. Preeti says arrangement. Nope. Think of a color. If I say it, I bet some of you will say, oh yeah, I knew that word. Okay. Starts with a B. Marwa, the last word will be renovations, yeah. But the first word that I'm looking for is blueprints. Okay. So these two blueprints. Blueprints are countable. Good job, Kesey. You got it. Yeah. So these two blueprints detail the layout of a post-secondary institution's athletic center, current and after renovation. If you can get this sentence going from this, so this paraphrase, you're definitely on the right track to a great band score. And after, instead of redevelopment, renovation is even better. Hi, Bagzod. Good of you to join in. I believe you originated this question. So good for you. It's a good question. So we can begin our essay with this specific statement. Okay. So these two blueprints detail the layout of a post-secondary institution's athletic center, current and after renovation. It's the same thing. So when I have this sentence to begin my essay, the overview is also your introduction. Sometimes students ask me, oh, do I need an introduction? The overview is the introduction. I should realize an important idea, okay? So it's an expository essay. It's third person, so I'm not using me or my. And there's another key piece here that I really need to recognize and respect so I can avoid mistakes and make sure I get a good score. Okay, the tense or the tenses used. So members, what tense or which tenses do you think that this task 1 will demand? By looking carefully at this question, which tenses am I going to use in writing this essay effectively? Think about it. It's in the question. Present tense. Yep. And Marwa says, well, future, right? Because it's future development. Yeah, so the most likely tenses that I'm going to use are present tense, future, and what else? There's another tense that I might think about including to really push for that band 8, band 9. So if I'm using present, future, is, are, future participle will be. I might also want to include something a little bit fancy here. Future perfect, right? Will have been or will have, okay? So future perfect might give you a little bit of extra to get that IELTS band score a little bit higher. All right, good. So our overview is here, the beginning. We're not done yet. What's the next step? What's the next step? What do I need to do? So here's one of the diagrams. This is the university at present. And then here is the University Sports Center. Sorry, I should say University Sports Center. So here it is at present. And here it is in the future. So what do I need to do? So Begzad says, well, you got to mark your main points. You have to know what you're writing about. Absolutely. That's right. So what is the most noticeable? For my overview, I should include 1, maybe 2 more points that are the main features, the most noticeable elements or changes between the future plans and between the current sports center of the university. So what is the most noticeable? And I mentioned it a little bit earlier. That's right, Kesey. You don't have to circle them. If it helps you to circle them, you might want to do that. But you might want to just indicate with numbers or even letters. Okay? So Begsad says there's big changes going on to the left and the right of this complex. Okay? When you have three buildings, it's a building complex here. C-O-M-P-L-E-X, complex. Well, here you have three buildings, right? You have 1, 2, 3 buildings. And then in the future, you have one much larger building, right? So that's definitely one of our key points here, that here we have 3 buildings. So number 1 is that we have these 3 buildings. And here we just have this one large building. Okay? Sure, absolutely. So instead of 3 individual buildings, there will be one large building that encompasses all the elements. Okay, so that's all right. Should I include something else into the overview, or is that enough? What else might I want to include? Could be enough. Okay, if you wrote just that, you could still be doing okay. What else might you want to state as a main observation, just looking at first eye glance? Okay, so we have outdoor courts, we have a pool, we have some seating, we have a change room, we have a gym, we have a reception, right? And then here, what do you have? Okay. What's the big, that's right, Bagzod, very good. Yes, that's absolutely what you should recognize, all right? So being a band 7, 8, 9 student in IELTS is not just about English, especially in the academic IELTS. It's also about the way you're using your critical thinking, your analysis. And you need to push yourself to this level where you're realizing that, oh yeah, look at this. There's a leisure pool, there's a sports hall, there's a couple dance studios, there's a changing room cafe, there's a sports shop, there's a change room. So just all of these different points, there's a lot more facilities. There's a lot of new facilities that don't exist in the current center. So number 2, if we want to mark it, we can mark it on this diagram. You can just put a big number 2 here. Like this. And that just means that basically you're referring to all of these different facilities, okay? So let's write that in a good sentence. That's right, Preeti. It's not more departments, because this would be the athletics department, but it's more facilities. Facilities is the better word choice here, Preeti. So it's more facilities. Okay, so let's add that to our overview. All right. So these 2 blueprints detail the layout of a post-secondary institution's athletic center, current and after renovation. At first glance, it is noticeable. So you don't write you can notice or you will see, because it's third person. So at first glance, it is noticeable that instead of the 3 building complex, there will be one large building. Okay? Or you can say structure to avoid repeating the word building in the same sentence. Also, there will be additional facilities that are not currently established. Okay. Okay, so now you have a Band 8, Band 9 overview, all right? So we knocked off those two big key points. Instead of 3 buildings, it's 1 large building. And instead of a few facilities, 3 or 4, there will be several more. Okay? All right, so now we can go into the analysis or the body paragraph, right? And before we do that, we definitely want to take a look and indicate the points of comparison. So what should we compare? What is a good way to approach this essay? Okay, so if I look at this diagram, and then I look at the next one, what's a good way to approach it? And students, definitely do what Begzod is doing, which is just simply writing in the information, and I can give you feedback. So Begzod says, when looking at the diagram in more detail, there will be a significant change in the size of the buildings. The 3 structures will be converted into 1 large building. Right? And you can do that with a comma, Begzod, because it's a descriptive clause, right? So again, Begzod, one more time. When looking at the diagram in more detail, there will be significant change in the size of this complex as it is converted from 3 structures into 1 large building. That's the best way to express what you wrote there, Begzod. So good on you for trying. And Marwa, Preeti, Kisi, do the same, okay? Don't be shy. Just throw up your sentences for any part of the overview or the analysis as we go through, and I'll come back and I'll look at your sentences. I know where you are, okay? I know where your thinking is, so don't worry. I'm just moving along here to keep everybody in a direction and keep you on pace, okay? So we'll move along together. But if you're a little bit back, or if you just got a sentence done, you're trying something new, hey, that's why you have these members classes. That's one of your special privileges for sponsoring our channel and for helping us to help other students around the world. So good for you. Okay, keep going, Begzod. All right, so what's my best approach here? I definitely want to label at least maybe 4 or 5 points of change. Now, I can't remember which student, but one of you cleverly said that the left and the right side of this diagram seems to experience the greatest changes. We see outdoor courts on the left and the right. Instead of saying left and the right, it's better to say west and east wing. Okay, think of the word wing. When you talk about a building, it's the east wing and the west wing, south wing, north wing of a building. Okay, wing just like the wing of an airplane or a bird. So we have some outdoor courts there. Notice that here we have no outdoor courts. So they're basically getting rid of these outdoor courts altogether. Okay, we can assume that they're being demolished. However, the center of the building remains fairly similar. So you have the reception, you have that pool, you have the changing room. The gym looks like it's getting an expansion. It's being enlarged, and the seating is still there. But the left wing and the right wing change significantly, and also the south wing. It has the additions of the sports shop and the cafe. Okay? So here, structure is very important. You can't just jump around. So you can't just say there will be a dance studio or a couple of dance studios in the east wing, and there will be a large leisure pool in the west wing. Also, on the right side or on the left side, there will be a sports hall with changing rooms to the south, and on the right side, there will be a changing room also with another sports shop. That's really confusing, okay? So don't do that. Make sure you have very clear structure. So first, explain that. Second, explain that. Third, here, let me do a little correction here. Yeah, sure. Explain that. Third, I would explain this. Okay? And if I have time, I might say that the gym will be enlarged and that this will stay the same. That would be my last piece, okay? So I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like this. Okay, so express that the east wing, instead of the outdoor court, will contain a sports hall, a couple of dance studios, and a large change room. The west wing will also no longer have this sports court or outdoor sports court. It will have a leisure pool and a changing room beside it, or we can just not talk about that. And then we can jump to this. So the front area, south side of the building, will have a sports shop to the left of the entrance and a cafe to the right. The center building will remain virtually unchanged with the indoor 25-meter pool, changing rooms to the west, seating to the east, and a gym to the north, which will go through some expansion. So I basically verbally gave you the analysis there. Now it's just putting it together. So write these sentences, students. Preeti says, and I said I'll read them, so yeah, I will do that. Looking more deeply, or looking deeper, I would say, Preeti. Instead of looking deeply, looking deeper at the diagram, the major changes in the university sports building will be extra facilities to the west and east of the building. That would be in your overview, Preeti. So that sentence is not in your analysis. That's your overview. You've already kind of said that in the overview. You're just saying it differently. So here you need to go into more details, okay? Kisi says an additional pool will be constructed at the west wing of the building, okay? At the west wing of the building. Marwa says a leisure pool will be established instead of the outdoor court in the west wing of the new building. Absolutely, and it's good to give details. So Kisi, make sure not to forget the leisure pool, right? Because here you have a leisure pool, and we can assume that this is probably an athletic pool for laps, for swimming back and forth laps, and we can guess that from the shape as well. So it's good to pay attention to details. When you include words like leisure pool, okay, you'll get marks. Also, you might, if you're a very good writer and you're quick, give some description of this odd amoeba-like shape, okay? Amoeba is that interesting living eukaryote microorganism that looks like that. You probably can guess what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's get into this analysis. So let's start with number 1. Let's start with the east side. Again, don't jump around. Start, have structure. Talk about this, talk about this, talk about this, then that. Okay, so let's do that together. Let's talk about the east wing. So the analysis, when looking at these blueprints in greater detail, one can notice that the outdoor court will be replaced by a sports court or sports hall, and 2, dance studios which will join to the current central building. Okay. So far I have number 1. When looking at these blueprints, I'm going to erase this so it's not in your way. You already have a good idea of how we're structuring these points. Okay. And again, your biggest circles are usually your most important points, so start with those just in case you run out of time. Again, don't go over that 20 minutes, right? So when looking at these blueprints in greater detail, one can notice that the outdoor court will be replaced by a sports hall and 2 dance studios which will join to the current central building. Great, so I've knocked off number 1. All right, that's this one here. Okay. Now I want to knock off number 2. Okay, number 2 is this one here. It's my leisure pool. All right. So again, don't be shy, members. Just keep writing your sentences. You don't have to just copy what I'm telling you. Practice your own use of language and vocabulary. Just write it up there. I keep looking at the chat, so I'll catch what you put up there. All right. You can see Bagzad just put something up there. Bagzad says it becomes more clear. The word is clearer, Bagzad. You can use ER with clear. So it becomes clear in this diagram that the east wing, the most significant change is that new facilities, dance studios, and a sports hall will be opened in place of the outdoor courts. Very good, Bagzad, and yeah, you caught that correction there. Okay, that was good. Okay, that's another way to approach it, and you're doing a good job. So let's switch to the opposite side of the building. On the opposite side, the west wing will be established, and there too the outdoor courts will be or will have been replaced. So throwing in that little bit of present perfect to show the examiner that, hey, I can use future participle will, but I can also use it with future perfect will have, and I can use it with future perfect passive voice. Don't overdo it, but if you throw one of these in there, you'll get a good mark for it. So on the opposites, as long as you use it correctly, okay? If you're not using grammar correctly, you're not getting points, you're losing points. So don't make mistakes. Practice correct grammar. On the opposite side, the west wing will be established, and there too the outdoor courts will have been replaced by an indoor leisure pool in the new sports center. Okay? Boom, there you go. That's all that you need to do there. So we just knocked off number 2, right? So we talked about this. We jumped from this to the other side. And we've crossed off this leisure pool. And again, like I say, if you want to get really fancy, an indoor amoeba shaped leisure pool. This is band 9 level of writing here, where you're able to basically create your language, and you can use words like amoeba shaped. Okay, you can use triangular shaped or square shaped if it's a different piece. Okay, let's see what you have. So a couple of other suggestions coming up, and I can see some good writing there. So let's have a look. Vanity Sean, good to see you in class. On a keener examination of the blueprints, it is noticeable on the east wing that the outdoor court will be converted to a sports hall and 2 dance studios. Vanity, beautiful writing. Okay, beautiful writing. Really, it's clean, clear, accurate, good grammar, good use of the comma. It's quite different from mine, and that is some high-level composition. Very good. Key C. When looking at the east side of these blueprints, the outdoor court will become 2 dance studios and a sports hall, as well as a changing room and cafe. That's good. Just be careful, Key C. Don't go overboard. Even if you get the changing room in there, I would say leave the cafe out of it. So even if you're adding the changing room to this conversion here, I would save the cafe and the sports shop for its own sentence later on. So even if I included the changing rooms into the east and west portions, I would retain this as a separate piece or separate point of information here. Okay, Kesey, I think you're going to do better that way. Marwa says, similarly, a leisure pool will be established instead is one word, Marwa, instead of the west outdoor court. Yes, you can use similarly, Marwa, but you need to use it a little bit differently. I would say similarly, the west outdoor court will also be replaced. So what is similar between the west and the east is that the west and the east currently have outdoor courts, and similarly, both of them are being replaced. So you have to be careful, Marwa, with your sentence structure and your information, that it's very clear to your reader that what's similar is replacing the outdoor courts, because the actual replacement is different, right? So the sports hall, dance studios, and the leisure pool, these are very different facilities. So you don't want to create awkward or confusing content where the reader's like, what's similar? That there's a leisure pool and a sports hall. So I hope that makes sense, okay? So make sure it's very clear that similarly, the outdoor court on the west as on the east is being replaced by new facilities, okay? All right, Preeti says, looking in more detail, or looking at the diagrams in detail, it's noticeable that the outdoor court, Preeti, and it's just one of them that's turned into the sports hall. So looking at it in more detail, it's noticeable that the outdoor court on the east, and if you use the plural outdoor courts, you still need to make sure you name that it's on the east, okay? The east outdoor courts will be turned into a sports hall and 2 dance studios connected to the central building. Okay, that's good, Preeti. You're very similar or very close to what I wrote, okay? Begzad says, on the other side of the building, the outdoor courts will be converted into a leisure pool for the new center. Yeah, be even more specific, Begzad, for the new sports center, new athletic center, okay? Vanity Sean says, while on the west wing of the building, which was once before, it's a tricky grammar, Vanity, because it still is, okay? So present tense, remember this, Vanity, that this is present. So you have to write it as, it's a tricky one. It's grammar as present as seen from the future is what it's called. And that would sound like this, Vanity, and you're really pushing a band 9 expert writer opinion barrier there, but it would sound like this, Vanity. It'd say, while on the west side of the building, which will have been once before an outdoor court, is going to be replaced by an irregular shaped pool with a changing room on either side, or to the left and south, or left and lower portion. I would probably leave the changing rooms out, Vanity. too much. But which will once have been is the grammar there, because it's the present as looking at it from the future. Okay, so it's a very awkward type of complex grammar. I don't recommend doing it on IELTS, but you can practice it at home. Okay, let's write a little bit more to it here. So let me get a couple in there as well. So we have the left and the right. And now I'm going to cover this change here, which is the south side of the building. Okay. All right. So this is how I would do it. There's more than one way to skin a cat. That's the idiom for there's more than one way to do this. At the south end or entrance, let's say at the south end of the blueprints, there will also be significant changes made with the addition of 2 more changing rooms at the far east and west to accommodate the new facilities there, as well as a sports shop and cafe to the left and right of the entrance, respectively. Okay, so that's a very long-winded sentence that I wrote there, but you can break it into 2 sentences if you're having trouble writing it this lengthy. Don't worry if you can't do it in 1 sentence, just do it in 2 sentences. But here, what I did is I explained the change to the south portion of the building. So at the south end of the blueprints, there will also be significant changes made with the addition to be even more correct, changes made to the new building. With the addition of 2 more changing rooms at the far east and west to accommodate the new facilities there, as well as a sports shop and cafe to the left and right of the entrance, respectively. Okay? I hope that sentence is clear. Again, you can review it later on a little bit more if it's not. Respectively means in the same order. So I said sports shop and cafe to the left and the right of the entrance, respectively. One more time. Sports shop and a cafe to the left and the right of the entrance, respectively. All right? So that works well. Begzod says in the south wing of the sports center, there will be an update. I don't know, release doesn't work there, Begzod. There will be I think you're thinking of like a new release, like a new video or a new movie release, but it doesn't work for a physical building. You can't use it in that context. It's awkward. So there will be an addition or establishment. If you look up your thesaurus for that word, you probably want to be looking for establish if you're looking for synonyms, Begzod. And one way you can do that is type the word establish, especially if you're using English version of Microsoft Word, which is a good idea. So establish, you highlight, you bring down your review pane, you go for the thesaurus, and then it says found, start, create, launch, form, institute, inaugurate. Inaugurate is a nice fancy word that works for buildings, okay? Buildings do get inaugurated, okay? So that might work. All right. So don't forget to use your thesaurus at home to increase your vocabulary and avoid repetition and wordiness. Absolutely. Okay. All right. So now we still have this gym that's being expanded, right? Here we can see that the gym is kind of short, and then we can see that in the new building, the gym stretches all the way almost to the edge of the east wing. So we can talk about that, and then we can talk about this center part of the building staying the same. And again, members, you're doing great. Don't be shy. Keep writing your sentences. I'd love to see some more sentences for these and give you some feedback, okay? Keep going. You're doing a wonderful job. Okay, meanwhile, in the north part of the current building, there is a gym which will be enlarged or extended further east in the new sports center. However, the remainder of the current central part of the building, the swimming pool, change rooms, and seating is or will remain unchanged in the future. Or in the future plans. Okay. All right. So that is my point 4 and 5 summed up in those two sentences. Notice the use of the connecting words, meanwhile and however, to give it that nice flow. All right, good. Kesey says at the south of the blueprints, 2 new facilities, a sports shop and a cafe, will open to the left and right of the reception. Very good. That works too, Kesey. So you're looking at it from the angle of the reception rather than the entrance. I forgot the reception completely myself. I'll throw it in here. But it works. That works, Kesey. That will work well. Okay. All right. Now I got one piece left, and then I've got my complete and ultimate task 1 response to this. The summary. For the summary, I don't want to repeat information. I don't want to say what's in my overview. At this point, if you have such a nice, well-developed overview and such a good analysis, you might skip the summary. But hey, if you are a really stellar student and you're like, easy peasy, I can get band 8, band 9, no problem. I've only been writing for 15 minutes. I have lots of time for part 2. I still got a 1 minute to throw a summary in there. Go ahead, throw in that summary. What could be that summary? So if I look at these 2 blueprints, what is the easiest piece of information that we can see here that we can add to our summary? Well, here you might want to look back at your overview to make sure you're not repeating anything. So these 2 blueprints detail the layout of a post-secondary institution's athletic center, current and after renovation. At first glance, it is noticeable that instead of the 3-building complex, there will be 1 large structure. Also, there will be additional facilities that are not currently established. Okay, what are those facilities? A dance studio and a leisure pool. So the new, in summary, the new university sports center will be able to accommodate a larger number of students with a greater variety of interests. Okay, so if you're thinking critically, hopefully you come up with that summary. In summary, the new University Sports Center will be able to accommodate a larger number of students with a greater variety of interests. Now, how did I come up with that so quickly? So you girls and guys might be thinking, or ladies and gents might be thinking, whoa, Adrian, how did you do that? So how did you just kind of spit that out last second, that interesting key piece of information? How did I? So what did I do in order to come up with this summary so quickly and make sure that if I had a 7.5, now I have a band 8? Or if I had a band 8 so far, now I have a band 8.5, just by throwing in that extra little short one-sentence paragraph. How did I do that? What technique or what strategy did I use to come up with that? Okay. Begzod says, well, because there are new facilities. Yes, Begzod, but that wasn't the actual strategy that I used. So that's the reason for it, and that's the answer to the strategy that I was applying, but that was not the actual strategy. There we go. So Marwa says, well, you asked yourself, what's the benefit of this development? Or what's a more simple question? What's the more simple question that I asked myself, Marwa? And I'll read Vanity, your answer meanwhile. So looking at the south end of the layout, on either side of the reception, there will have been 2 changing rooms as well as facilities of a cafe on the left and a sports shop on the right added to the building. Okay, added to the building. There's a little missing piece in there, Vanity, but you're very close. Yeah, that's right, Marwa. That's exactly what I was thinking. I asked the why question. So I said to myself, well, why? Why is this university changing the building structure? So if this is the university's sports center now, and this is the university sports center in the future, why do this? Why spend all this money to make it larger? Okay. Well, probably the university is growing, it's expanding, it needs to accommodate more students. It needs to accommodate students with different needs. So this obviously can do that. And one point or one big tip is we have a changing room here, and here we have 2 more changing rooms, right? So why do you need more changing rooms? Well, because you expect there to be more people using the facilities. Look at the gym. A smaller gym becomes a larger gym. Why? Because you expect there to be more people using the facilities. Why put in a leisure pool? Why put in dance studios? Well, you have different students with different needs. So asking that why question, okay, always go back to that. It's your best friend in the IELTS exam is your critical thinking, okay? What, why, how? That is your best friend, members and students watching. So Vanity Sean says, in summary, the new University Sports Center will be able to cater to a variety of needs of the growing population of the school. Yeah, we don't know if there's a growing population of this school, so you got to be careful, Vanity. We might, but you're kind of starting to assume, but definitely can accommodate more students. Okay, I know that sounded a little bit weird and like, what aren't we saying the same thing? But we're not. Logistically, we're not saying the same thing. But it can accommodate more students, okay? So careful not to assume too much. All right, let's read this together. I bet you it's about 215 words. Remember, 150 is minimum. These 2 blueprints detail the layout of a post-secondary institution's athletic center, current and after renovation. At first glance, it is noticeable that instead of the 3-building complex, there will be one large structure. Also, there will be additional facilities that are not currently established. When looking at these blueprints in greater detail, one can notice that the outdoor court will be replaced by a sports hall and 2 dance studios, which will join to the current central building. On the opposite side, the west wing will be established, and there too the outdoor courts will have been replaced by an indoor amoeba-shaped leisure pool in the new sports center. At the south end of the blueprints, there will also be significant changes made to the new sports, or we can say according to. It sounds a little bit better. Sounds better to write it like this. When you're reviewing at home, don't be shy, students. Always make corrections if you find something. I do the same. I'm no different. According to the blueprints, in the south wing of the new building, there will also be significant changes made. Now I can get rid of this piece here because it's repetitive or redundant. I've already said new building. Made with the addition of 2 more changing rooms at the far east and west to accommodate the new facilities there, as well as a sports shop and cafe to the left and right of the entrance respectively. Meanwhile, and I meant for this to be one paragraph, I don't want to break that into another one. Meanwhile, in the north part of the current building, there is a gym which will be extended further east in the new sports center. However, the remainder of the current central part of the building, the reception, the swimming pool, change rooms, and seating will remain unchanged in the future plans. In summary, the new University Sports Center will be able to accommodate a larger number of students with a greater variety of interests. And there you have a Band 9 response to this diagram question. Begs odd. I hope that now it's much more clear for you. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you asked me to explore this question. So I hope that satisfies your inquiry or your interest. Marwa, Kisi, Vanity, Preeti, excellent job today. Some really, really nice sentences and suggestions. And again, practice this at home, okay? I can sometimes make it look easy in the class, but it really does take practice. So practice logic, expressing yourself, go through the correct steps. To all of our viewers watching, I do respect that there were a lot of you who watched this lesson. Thank you for staying with us. Again, remember, we have 4 days right now with no live streaming as we go into our holiday season. So the next live streaming will be on the 27th with speaking part 1 and 2. You're very welcome, Marwa. Thank you for the compliment and for appreciating. Again, ladies and gentlemen, to really improve your IELTS band scores, to save yourself a lot of money so you don't have to sit the IELTS exam again, spend a little bit of money, get the right materials, the right practice, aehelp.com for academic IELTS, the premium course, gieltshelp.com for general IELTS, for the premium course. Spend a couple dollars, save a lot, save stress, save headaches, be proud of your score, be proud of your improvement, and let us help you. Let me help you. All right. Again, you can always send me an email if you have questions. Adrian@aehelp.com. Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful rest of your weekend. For those of you celebrating Christmas, I wish you a Merry Christmas. During the festive season, stay safe, stay warm. If you're in a country where it's cold, if you're in a country where it's very hot, try to stay cool. Much love to all of you. And if it's late in your country, sweet dreams. Bye for now. See you on the 27th.